You know, in the cutthroat world of business, it feels like a constant battle, doesn't it? Companies pour fortunes into strategy, hire the smartest people, and yet, even the biggest giants can come crashing down. So, what if the real secret to winning in business today wasn't in some modern textbook, but in a military guide written 2,500 years ago? It's a question that keeps CEOs up at night. I mean, how does a massive market leader, with all the money and resources in the world, suddenly get completely outplayed by a smaller, scrappier competitor? What's the secret sauce? Well, the answer, according to our source material, is hidden in plain sight in the ancient pages of Sun Tzu's The Art of War. We're going to break down how these ancient battlefield strategies are an incredibly powerful playbook for today's business world. Let's jump into the first big idea. Okay, our first principle is probably the most important one to grasp. Stop trying to fight head-on battles you can't win. The smart move is to find a different way in. I just love this metaphor from Sun Tzu. Think about it. Water doesn't waste its energy trying to smash through a mountain, right? No, it flows around it. It always finds the easiest path, the path of least resistance. In business, your strategy needs to be just as fluid. It's not about who has the biggest hammer. It's about who's clever enough to find the open door. And we saw this play out perfectly in the legendary retail war between Kmart and Walmart. Kmart decided to go for a direct head-on collision. They threw $3 billion at trying to beat Walmart on its home turf, low prices in big cities. But Walmart? They did the complete opposite. They took an indirect approach. They went after the weakness in the market. All those small rural towns that the big retailers had ignored, where the only competition was the local mom-and-pop shop. And the results? Well, they were absolutely staggering. Kmart's market share just tanked, while Walmart's literally doubled. Kmart tried to conquer the mountain of Walmart's low prices and just broke. Walmart, on the other hand, acted like water. It found the undefended lowlands, built an unstoppable empire there, and the rest is history. So if attacking weakness tells you what to do, our next principle is all about the when and the how, and it boils down to the incredible power of speed and momentum. For this, let's look at the cautionary tale of General Motors' Saturn project. Okay, so get this. They saw the threat from Japanese cars way back in 1981, but it took them nearly a decade, a full 10 years, to actually get a car on the market. By 1990, the entire game had changed. This wasn't just a slow product launch, it was a massive strategic failure. And you know what? Sun Tzu had a name for this exact problem. He called it wasteful delay. See, it's not enough just to have a great idea or even to win an early battle. If you fail to press that advantage, if you just sit on your hands, you're setting yourself up for disaster. So GM basically made two huge mistakes. First, that insane delay in getting Saturn off the ground. But second, and this is maybe even worse, they failed to back up their own success. Right when Saturn was starting to catch on and win over customers, GM choked off its funding. They basically strangled their own creation and killed every bit of momentum they had. Okay, this next idea is where things get really advanced. It's about moving beyond just reacting to your competitors, and instead, actively shaping what they do next. This is probably Sun Tzu's most famous line, and for good reason. It's not just about lying. It's about making your opponent see a completely different picture, forcing them to make moves that, in the end, actually help you. It's about playing chess while they're playing checkers. Let's travel back to the mid-90s and look at Microsoft. They were the undisputed king of tech. That dominance was their greatest strength, but it also became their greatest weakness. Competitors started to feel like Microsoft was a bully, willing to crush anyone to grow. And that feeling, that resentment, created a huge opening for an alliance to form against them. And here's the genius part. The attack on Microsoft wasn't about their software. No, that would have been a frontal assault on their strength. Instead, it was an indirect attack on their strategy and their reputation. All these rivals teamed up with government regulators, creating this perfect storm of legal and public pressure that boxed Microsoft in and limited their every move. And you don't have to take my word for how well this worked. Listen to what a Microsoft executive said at the time. He said they felt hamstrung. They were forced to abandon a huge acquisition, not because it was a bad business deal, but because their opponents had masterfully reshaped the entire battlefield against them. Okay, so we've got these powerful ideas: attack weakness, use speed and momentum, and shape your opponent. But how do they all fit together into one winning strategy? And this, right here, might be the most important takeaway of all. You can't just cherry pick these principles like you're ordering off a menu. Their real, incredible power only shows up when you weave them all together. Speed is what lets you exploit a weakness before anyone else can react. And shaping your opponent is how you can actually create new weaknesses to attack. Each idea makes the other stronger. Our source uses this fantastic metaphor. Think of each principle as a single, strong cord. But when you braid all those cords together, you don't just get a stronger cord, you get an unbreakable rope. Think back to Walmart. They didn't just attack a weakness. They did it with incredible speed and preparation. And in the process, they reshaped the entire retail landscape for decades. That's a powerful, integrated strategy in action. So, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Instead of planning a head-on charge against your competitor's biggest strengths, take a step back and ask, where's the empty space? What's the fertile, low-lying ground that everyone else is ignoring? Because finding that spot and flowing into it like water, well, that could be the key to your next big victory.